Um, Good day everyone. Today I'm the reporter of problem number 9 and problem number 10. So first is we were going to read the problem. So the school purchased 40 emergency water containers. Each containers hold 2.5 US gallon of drinking water. The Disaster Risk Reduction and Management or DRRM, the coordinator needs to record the amount of water in liters. The question is, how many liters of water are stored? So, the problem asks us to find the total amount of water in liters. However, it is given in US gallon. So, we first need to convert US gallon to liters. So, here are the given. 40 emergency water containers, 2.5 US gallon. So, first is we need to multiply 40 times 2.5 US gallon. Why do we multiply? Since 2.5 US gallon, since each container holds 2.5 US gallon and there are 40 containers, we multiply because 2.5 US gallon is the total amount of water in one container. So we multiply. 40 times 2.5 is equal to 100. 100 divided by 1 is 100. You've noticed that unit container is being cancelled and it leaves only US gallon and that will be our unit. So step number 2 is convert US gallon to liters. So 1 US gallon is equivalent to 3.78541 liters in factor conversion. So to find the total amount of liters in 100 US gallon, we multiply it by 3.78541 liters. So 100 times 3.78541 liters is equal to 378.541 liters. You've noticed that US gallon is being cancelled and it leaves only liters, which is the required unit in this problem. So in conclusion, the total amount of water in all 40 containers is 378.541 liters. So now let's proceed to problem number 10. So first we were gonna read the problem. A garment workshop received an order for 320 school uniforms. Each uniform requires 2.75 yards of fabric. To allow for pattern matching and cutting waste, the owner will buy 8% more fabric than needed. So the supplier measures fabric in meters. The question is, how many meters of fabric should be ordered? In this problem asks us to find how many meters of fabric should be ordered. However, the fabric requirement is given in yards, while the supplier measures the fabric in meters. So we also need to add 8% additional more than the owner buy. So here are the given. 320 school uniforms, 2.75 yards, and 8% additional fabric. So first, step number 1 is we need to find the total amount of fabric needed in yards. So 320 times 2.75. Why do we multiply? Because 2.75 yard is requires to make one uniform, and there are 320 school uniforms. To find how many yards to make 320 school uniform, we multiply it. 320 times 2.75 is equal to 880. So the unit uniform is cancelled out. It leaves only yard, and that will be our unit. So step number 3 is we add the additional 8% fabric. So instead of adding 8% separately, we multiply it by 1.08 because 100% is equal to 1 and 8% is equal to 0.08. So now we add them. 1 plus 0.08 is equal to 1.08. So now we multiply it to find the total yard needed to make 320 school uniforms and include the 8% additional fabric to allow for pattern matching and cutting waste. So 880 times 1.08 is equal to 950.4 yard. Now, 1 yard is equal to 0.9144 in meters in conversion factor. So to find how many meters of fabric there are in 950.4 yard, we multiply it. 950.4 times 0.9144 is equal to 869.045. The yard unit is being cancelled out, and it leaves only meters, which is the required unit in this problem. In conclusion, the garment workshop should prepare approximately 869.045 meters to make 320 school uniforms, including 8% additional fabric. And that's all.